Yeah, I mean, I do. I think it's a fantastic appointment for Rangers. I know there's a lot of fans out there who are, they're unhappy and they've got their concerns.
Fantastic is certainly not the word I would have used to describe this Russell Martin appointment, but Kris Boyd, Christopher from Ayrshire, has described it just like that. Welcome back to Fog Football. We're going to dive in to Kris Boyd's reaction, but let's get my reaction to Kris Boyd's reaction. I'm going to start saying reaction. I don't understand why he's labelled it fantastic, right? And I don't think anybody would have been a fantastic appointment, right? See for someone to be fantastic player or manager on the day that you have signed them and not 6 months, a year, 3 years down the line, they have to be like a step above. Russell Martin is not a step above. He's not. He just did. You know, it has to be someone who is coming with credentials that surpass this league, in my opinion. That's the way I think that's the way you've got to look at it, right? He's not a complete unknown, right? But it's a massive risk. The guy's never managed a club like Rangers, MK Dons, Swansea, and Southampton. It's not like Rangers have managed to get their hands on Jurgen Klopp here, or Pep Guardiola, or Carlo Ancelotti. Gerrard wouldn't have been fantastic. Ancelotti wouldn't have been fantastic. Sean Dyche wouldn't have been fantastic. Hell, even Jose Mourinho, as great as Jose Mourinho was, would he be fantastic in 2025? I would probably disagree with that, but I'm more open to calling Jose Mourinho being appointed Rangers manager fantastic than Russell Martin. I just don't get this. I really don't. I think if we signed Luka Modric, I would call that fantastic because he's a clear step above this league. Russell Martin managing us, literally nobody wants him. That's the problem. So to label it fantastic without a ball even being kicked, literally what a presser, a couple of words, the generic words of we need to win, trophies. Actions speak louder than words, folks. And even then, I would say the same about Boyd, even if Rangers were top of the league in December and he was calling Martin fantastic because he's still got to deliver, he's still got to get the trophies over the line and stuff like that. But anyway, let's dive into what he's got to say, see if he can justify the fantastic tag that he's put on Russell Martin because I know I don't agree with it. Anyway, and I quote, "Listen, it didn't make good reading for Rangers domestically last year once again. But we've seen it before. You go back to Dick Advocaat's team, they totally wiped the floor with Celtic. Martin O'Neill arrived and they totally wiped the floor with that Rangers team, which was a good Rangers team. I think that you look at Rangers' problems, they didn't come against Celtic last year. They were against everybody else. So if Rangers can eradicate the results against everybody else and start to build momentum early, start winning the games against the rest, then the old firm games will take care of themselves. And Rangers have shown that they can cause Celtic problems in one-off games, but it's finding that consistency. It's going to be the challenge for Martin from now on. He needs to find a level of consistency to go and beat the rest that allows Rangers to challenge towards the latter stage of the season against Celtic. I've seen bigger points gaps than this be turned around. It's not like in England where you might have one big team who's struggling, but there are other 3 or 4 who are doing okay and you need to overtake 3 or 4. For Rangers, they just need to overtake Celtic for it to be a success. But it's going to be a lot harder than that, what you think, because Celtic under Brendan Rodgers are a well-oiled machine now for a number of seasons. They do look as though they will strengthen again in the summer. They've got an opportunity for Champions League football again. End of quote. Again, that is another thing which suits us. There's no 10, 3, 4, 10 teams that you have to overtake. It's just one, and that is massive. Ange came in, he overturned a 25-point gap, so there you go. That's 8 points less than what we finished off last season. But the key thing is, got to step up the task in the games against teams that aren't just Celtic, away at Dens Park, hell, at Ibrox, because God knows what's happened there recently, man. The form has been absolutely disgusting. But then another thing is, some people argue that we haven't beat Celtic in games that mattered in years. And there's a bit of truth to that. This season, yeah, we beat them 3-0. We beat them 3-2 at Parkhead, and obviously we drew at Ibrox. Oh, morale victory. No. The other game we lost, and then the other game we lost on penalties, but it's still a loss. So in terms of the games that actually matter, I mean, let's be real, right? By January, the league's pretty much done. Most people had accepted it. But in terms of the 2 old firms that matter, the one at the start of the season matters. It's not that it matters the most, but if you look at the 4 games in the league last season, did it matter the most? Yeah, because that's when the points gap was the closest. So to me, that matters the most. And then obviously you've got a cup final in there. And then the last time you have to go back to an Old Firm game where we picked up a victory when it mattered, it would be the Geo Cup semi final, which is fucking years ago, 3 years ago. That's insane, absolutely insane. So it's not been good enough. But here, need to start somewhere, and obviously picking up 2 wins and a point and 1 defeat against Celtic. Normally, that would put you in good stead. That would put you looking pretty toasty at the top of the league, or at least at the bare minimum a couple of points off. But last season we were shy against every other team, so brutal. Boyd went on to say, and I quote, "I think it's a tough ask, but I think Rangers have got their man, the right man, and he's shown that he can improve players. He can improve teams. He can build a culture within the football club that will allow the club to flourish going forward. So for me, can that gap be closed? Of course it can. Rangers need to find that consistency against everybody else. But also, we've all been a part of squads when you know it's going to be playing. You know you're the first name on the team sheet, and that's not good. It's not healthy. You need to have people pushing you every single day in training, and I'm sure if Russell Martin to add 6 or 7 players to that, the starters from last year will probably become substitutes, and then it's up to them to fight back to try and get on the team. And that, my friends, is a healthy squad." End of quote. Kris Boyd firing on all cylinders there. But the reality is that what's going to happen? Are Rangers going to be able to replace that many players that makes the players that are decent hungry from the substitution bench? I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. But to label it as fantastic, man, by God, I just don't understand it. But we'll hear another wee bit for Boyd and react to it.
For me, I think it's a fantastic appointment. He's already been here as a player. He understands the pressures, the demands that.
Kris Boyd reiterating that it's a fantastic appointment, and he goes on to talk about the fact that Martin's a former player, right? And I think being a former player, it does mean something, right? But Russell Martin himself has come out and said that he wasn't in the right frame of mind when he made the move to Rangers, and it was right move, wrong time sort of thing. I'm not saying he doesn't understand what it's all about, but see, just listening to him speak, it just doesn't fill me with fire. You know what I mean? He doesn't fill me with belief. He just doesn't strike me as the guy that's going to get this. See, when Gerrard spoke, man, he took over the room. He got you believing. Russell Martin, give me something, Martin. Give me it. Come on, son. Deliver. Come on. Make it a fantastic fucking appointment. And I'll be a happy man. Till next time. Peace.